Hello, listener, and welcome back to the Lonely Goalpost podcast. In episode 3, it's all about England as we take a trip down memory lane and debate our favourite England kits, unforgettable matches, and the moments that have shaped our love of the Three Lions. We also check in on the World Cup so far, discussing the big talking points, standout performers, and early impressions from the tournament. And of course, no Lonely Goalpost episode would be complete without our famous five-a-side predictions. Who makes the cut, who misses out, and who will cause the biggest disagreement? Join myself, Simon, Dan and Griff for another football chat packed with memories, opinions, laughs and plenty of nostalgia. What's your favourite match of all time? Which kit is the GOAT? Let us know in the comments and join the conversations. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and most importantly, pass the pod. My name's Simon Higgins, and let's get started. Here we go. Welcome, listener. Episode 3 of the Lonely Goalpost World Cup special. And I've got my trusted strike partnership up here, a bit like Lineker and Beardsley, Daniel and Sean. Daniel, how you doing?
Good. I feel like I've been introduced first twice now, which makes me both Batman and Lineker. Unlucky, Chris.
We got to think about another order, don't we? Or another sort of pairing. But anyway, Daniel sort of linked into Sean. Hello, Sean. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'll always be your Robin, Daniel. I'll always be your Robin.
Robin Redbreast.
Yeah.
Hey,
literally.
me and Sean, we're a pair of Robin Redbreasts tonight, aren't we? Look at us.
Yeah, that's it. Proud as punch.
Listener, we didn't even coordinate our kits. We've just done this naturally. This is how in sync we've become. Isn't that good? How are we doing, lads? Are we enjoying the World Cup? Sean, talk to me about your World Cup at the moment. How are you finding it?
I've enjoyed a few games. I'd be surprised with the games that I've actually enjoyed watching so far. So the Saudi Arabia game, I actually really enjoyed that game. And the Cape Verde Spain game. Because what it is, those sort of games, it's the big nations or whatever, and against the little nation, and against it all, they get the goalkeeper has a great game, and it's just all those little moments. I enjoy them games more. Do you know what I mean? Especially in this sort of time of the World Cup, when it gets to the business end, then it's different, isn't it? You want to see the quality players shine, but in the early stages, it's about the little countries having a bit of hope and getting a result which is going to be in history for life for them. But they're going to remember that game forever, aren't they? So yeah, I've enjoyed a few games that I didn't think I would, but I have.
Very good. Daniel, what about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's the games I wasn't expecting. I think the US massively surprised me. That was a massive performance from them. First half in particular, I think, there's been some great. I think, like Sean said, like the Saudi Uruguay game was just
brilliant game.
Mad, yeah, just actually like quality football as well. Like it was surprisingly good. Yeah, I think there's been some really, really solid games. Even the New Zealand game last night. I mean, that was I mean, when they come up against proper quality opposition, you understand, you wonder where that kind of drops off. But I thought Iran, New Zealand, just as a setup, I thought decent watch, great one to finish it 2-2. I think it was well deserved both sides. But I think anything other than a draw in that game would have been the wrong result. And they both played completely different type of football. It's just great to see. It's World Cup all about, isn't it?
It's eye-opening, isn't it? Just to see those new teams, the new players, new ideas. I really enjoyed the Qatar v Switzerland game. I was a bit perplexed that was the Saturday night World Cup game, but I thought Qatar were hard done by a dodgy VAR penalty. The VAR went disappearing. And the header, I just thought old school, get the ball in the box. Maybe it's what England might miss with Alexander-Arnold, possibly getting the ball in, big man coming in, heading it. It reminded me of Sesko's goal against Villa last season. Like, again, crossing the ball, attack it. It just took me back to late 80s, early 90s, going for it. And I absolutely love that.
Getting across your defender, getting your head on it, and brilliant header.
And talking, and obviously, Sean, you mentioned Cape Verde, the goalkeeper, 40-year-old legend. I've heard that he was shown in an interview that he's gained 1 million Instagram followers in that match, and his eyes light up. So his world's going to change, and he's all of a sudden now a World Cup cult hero. Like he's the Cape Verde Roger Miller, isn't he, Sean?
He is, mate. Yeah, he had absolute, phenomenal games, didn't he? And just even again, I think so far the two surprise players that I've seen is the Cape Verde goalkeeper and the Saudi Arabia goalkeeper. He had a worldie as well against Uruguay. He must have saved about 15 decent efforts. So the goalies have been my two standout performers so far.
I've always said the goalkeeper is the most important position on the pitch. All right, it's
Yeah,
there. You got to be
yeah.
there. But
Yeah, we have. Mate, I tell you, we've been some great saves, and yeah, like you say, I think when I was watching the Cape Verde game, it was like they had a stat that he's like playing like Divi 2 Portugal League in front of like average
brilliant,
of
isn't it?
10, like 700 fans normally. Now he's gonna have like the kingdom of the key to Cape Verde.
He's got the
Crazy.
key to the palace, and
Yeah.
and then we're sort of talking about other games, and we, do you know what? Write them off at your peril. We didn't, Daniel. We didn't mention really Germany, did we? Mention a couple of players. Bayern Munich got a mention, and we
Yeah.
swerved the Germans.
Yeah, I do wonder. I mean, they're playing probably the minnows of the tournament, right?
Of course, yeah.
So it's you expect a 7-1. They're not quite the same Germany that beat Brazil 7-1. I think that's fair to say, but
Same but different, yes.
different, yeah. But I think Musiala continues to just show. I mean, considering he's come away from a long injury, just continues to show just his top draw. Yeah, they're a solid team. I think they're beatable. I think the 7-1 didn't flatter them as such, but I don't think they're getting those chances against other teams. So, jury's still out for me, even though they won 7-1, which is a bit of a wild statement to make, I think. But yeah, I think I've been more impressed with other teams, despite them winning.
Good. And what I loved was just moving on to Scotland, believe it or not. I love the goal. Again, we're talking about strikers. And for any parent, coach that have got a child that plays up front, watch Shay Adams run for the goal. He brings the ball down, just plays, gets the ball going, basically starts the move. Well, after the move that's been pinged into him, the movement was brilliant, lays it off. Then he gets into the box, and then obviously McGinn scores. That was a real highlight for me. It was old school, like you at the back, Sean, pinging them, seeing a little angle pass, pinging it through, and then off we go. The big man at the front just making the run, and you just hit him with a little peach of a ball, Shawnee.
Mate, sometimes you got to do that, haven't you, mate? Just get the ball forward quick, turn the team over, and you don't know what can happen. I think sometimes we can all try and play a bit too pretty, and it'll be for pretty football. But sometimes you just got to get that ball forward, mate. And credit to them. I think they won the game, didn't they? Which is ultimately what it's all about at that point. But I think Morocco will be a bit of a challenge for them, to be fair.
Well, you called Morocco, didn't you? And they certainly gave Brazil a game, didn't they? And really, there's that old adage: score when you're on top. I remember when a message Daniel told me off and said, to be fair, Morocco didn't have many shots, and I hold my hands up. I was right. I was all getting tight, Daniel, and I was thinking, like, they were on top, but they didn't have many shots. But they should have scored, shouldn't they? They should have created something, shouldn't they? Killed the game.
Yeah, they controlled the game, it felt like, but without really doing much with it. I think that was the one thing I sort of took away from it. They looked. I thought Hakimi was brilliant. Hakimi looked.
I love him. Great player.
Yeah, he looked head and shoulders above everyone there, really, until Vinicius Junior kind of turned up. And that Vinicius Junior goal is what he's all about, isn't it? Everything that he does well, and they were good. But Brazil looked a bit out of sorts. But again, it didn't look cohesive at all. I thought Morocco looked much the better team, particularly first half.
So it's going to be quite exciting, isn't it? Like, as I say, there's going to be we will have some different teams like Morocco and all these sort of like teams that Egypt looked good last night. Belgium looked pedestrian, didn't they? And maybe we mentioned the African teams. Maybe this is the one. Who knows? But
yeah, I mean, this year feels like it's closer than any for potentially an African team, and there's there's a lot of good ones in there. I think Senegal.
They're
Tonight
looking good.
they're
They're looking good in this first
yeah,
half against France. To be fair,
they're a good team.
Jackson looks like an absolutely different player to what he was at Chelsea.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's been learning of Harry Kane, hasn't he? That's what it is. He's been
Yeah.
with our boy. But anyway, we had a message in a few messages actually, which has been really nice. I know we gave the shout outs at the end of last episode, but Sean McKinley gave us a shout out and asked us a question about the late matches, how we coping with late matches. And I was thinking about you, Sean, like with your role as your role as a new father now and a butcher. You've got to get up at silly o'clock. What is your plan? Are you going to get up and watch the late games and just stay up with your daughter if she's having a bad night and watch the game, or what's the tactic, mate? Are you? Tell us, share
Mate,
it.
well, I go with good intention. So, like the last couple of nights, I've been trying to watch the 9 o'clockers. I mean, this one's obviously 8 o'clock, so it's not too bad. I think tomorrow's a good schedule. They've won at like 5 p.m, so they're not too bad. Sunday, I did get up for the Scotland game.
Good man.
To be honest, yeah, didn't go out Saturday night, so I was fresh as a daisy. So I was up, raring to go.
You was up at 6:30, wasn't you?
Yeah, I was out on the road by half 5 on my push bike though, so it was nice, mate. Yeah, so it was, to be fair, yeah, they are tricky, aren't they?
That's hard work.
It gets to 11 o'clock at night, and it's pins in the eyes job. But I've watched the majority. I'm surprised how much I've watched actually. But yeah, them 11 o'clockers or 2 o'clock in the morning ones, I think there's not many of them I'll be watching.
Hard work.
Well, I'd say though, with it, I think the difference with like 2002 when it was career in Japan. And that was like a working day. That felt harder, right? Because it felt like at least I get to watch more of the games this time, I think. But the career in Japan piece was it felt a lot more like that felt like it was more of a tricky situation. They were on it like at 11 o'clock in the morning.
That's hard work. I lost the there's been some games like at 5 in the morning. I've been getting up from or getting up and they've been going on. I'm like, what the heck's going on? But I've been listening to a lot of coverage on 5 Live and on the radio, and it's been quite nice actually. It's been good, informative, and I've had a few nights where I just shoved it on the radio and I fell asleep and then all of a sudden my radio's off. But just like that. There you go. Rock and roll.
There's more unhealthy things to be doing in the middle of the night. So
So anyway, we've got our we've had a little review there, and obviously we've all got our England shirts on, and we're in a little bit of a romantic mood. And before we talk about England, this year's World Cup, and our hopes and how we think they might get on. Let's put it out there. What is our favourite England match at a World Cup? There's plenty to choose from. Dan, come on. I'm going to you, mate.
We've spoken about it already. I think my favourite England match will be the 2002 Argentina game. That's my favourite England match because that's the one where it felt like it was just one of those things where we scored and then it felt backs against the wall. It felt a proper sort of battle out, but it felt again that cathartic. We beat the Argentinians. That was good, and they were a good Argentinian team in 2002. But I was thinking about the other day actually. The one I always forget, and I don't know why because it's recent memory. When we beat the last World Cup, we beat Iran 6-2 opening game, and it was like there was a lot of sort of concern going into that World Cup. I don't think Southgate was particularly on at top of everyone's list of he turned a few people off his brand of football at that point, me included. And we went out and absolutely demolished a fairly decent Iranian team. And I mean, we ripped them apart. I mean, we drew the US the next game, but like the 6-2. And that, I think that was the first time I'd watched an opening England game in a tournament for a long time and gone, do you know what? That was a proper entry to a tournament. So that's probably in there that I always forget, but I actually think when I look back at it, that Bellingham opening goal and then what we did after that was, top draw.
Going back in 2002, and we did mention it, but we didn't really mention. I thought that was prime Beckham, like in terms of his hair. He had good hair in there. The penalty he was puffing you could see him taking the breaths. I can still see it now, and I always knew he was going to go down the middle, but you could just knew it was there. He was looking. I thought he was looking good. Prime Beckham.
He scored the free kick against Greece to just scrape
Greece, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he was already like a king by then, wasn't he? He definitely redeemed himself.
Definitely. And Sean, go on. What about your greatest or best England World Cup game? What are you going for today? It's how you feel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tricky, mate, isn't it? I mean, it's a tough question because I'm not being many great games or positive results or anything like that. So I've picked a game that sticks in the memory for me, and we didn't win the game, but it was a bloody great game, and it was 2006 quarterfinal, Portugal.
Yeah.
Because that game again is like tactics, everything went out the window. It was end to end. The amount of chances in the game. Obviously, Rooney got sent off. It was an end to end game. Obviously, both teams were like full of absolute like world class players as well. It was a quality lineup from both teams. Obviously, Portugal, and what we said about like, the RGs in Germany, we seem to always draw against them in like European Cup or the World Cup. So it was a bit of a rivalry there. And it just sticks out for me. It's one of them games that I just really remember vividly. Obviously, we lost it on penalties. But it was just one of them typical battles, end-to-end game, red cards, sort of just a really exciting game of football, which, to be honest, you don't often see with England. So,
funny enough, that was one of my games I was thinking of as too. And in terms of excitement, I'm putting
yeah.
that. I had the excitement factor on that game because it was a Saturday. It was a Saturday afternoon game.
It was an afternoon. Yeah.
Me and a few of the boys and family, we went to Chalkies in Port High Street to watch it. And there's a lot of excitement, big game. And you're thinking, we've got to sort of redeem ourselves from the Euros in 2004. I was wearing my Lineker 86 shirt. I bought that a few months before that. I was all excited, and it was a sunny day. We're in there, and obviously, as everything happened, I thought at the time Rooney was unlucky to be sent off. Obviously, when you see him, sort of his studs go in, and then Ronaldo was kicking off like the little winker, and then I was like, no, he's not playing for
A couple of
Manchester
penalty
United.
shouts as well, actually. There's a couple of strong penalty shouts. I think both teams, no one really went in favour. It was very even match, But
and I was remember saying Ronaldo's never going to play for Manchester United again. Obviously, little did we know that was the start of his amazing form and the transformation of him. And then it just went down and down. And I always remember in Chalkies, there's some bloke that started on me, right? Because at those days I had long curly hair.
never.
I was in my retro England shirt, and he's like, "Oh, England like missed the penalties, they're out," and you just stood there like. I remember I just stood there like this at the bar, a bit like I was gutted. And this bloke come up to me, "Look at you, you're Aussie." I was like, "What? What are you on about, Aussie?" Right? And he's going, "Look at you, you're Aussie." I'm wearing my England shirt, Lineker number 10, and all that, and it just sort of. Oh, I went home and got changed and went out on the Saturday night. It just sort of, but I just always remember that day, and I was like, but
to be fair, you've always had a tricky relationship with Perry, though, haven't you? So
yeah, exactly. You might have thought of someone else, but the other game, and again, Sean, Dan, it's one that England didn't win, but then they're the games that we probably build ourselves up for. And it World Cup 1990 against West Germany, and again, this is where I get very reminiscent. I taped the game. I watched it a few times, many times actually afterwards. But on the night, I remember in the day at school, I just joined Hamworthy Middle School, and I was only there for like half a term as we moved to Poole. And the head teacher did a prayer for England in the assembly, and we pray for England tonight, and we hope they do well.
And on South Road, was it? Oh no, you went. Sorry, Hamworthy.
It's a Hamworthy. No.
Yeah,
and in those days, I was just wearing. I was just like. It's a white and blue uniform, and do you know what my uniform was? Just an old England tracksuit. That's what I used to wear at school. And I'm in assembly in the old England tracksuit, 3 lions all across me. I'm thinking, oh, we go. And then the game come, and again, it was just like that. The nerves, and I think it was the first game when I really felt like an England fan. Like the Cameroon game before was brilliant, and this was the one where there's a lot riding on it, and then the heartbreak, penalties, and it was just one of those. And looking back now, it's that game when I was a 12-year-old, and then the next World Cup game was in '98. I'm 19 then, or even 20. I was, and drinking, going out to the pubs to watch it. That was the last sort of game when I had the romantic, youthful energy and excitement. And there you go. There's my games. Anything to add, Dan?
No, I mean I love it. I think. I mean I was too young to remember the 1990, but I've seen plenty of the clips, and Lineker gesturing to the bench about Gaza crying.
Gaza, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it felt like I think when you look at that, and it probably felt at that moment as an England fan when Gaza got that yellow card and his head dropped, that it probably felt as an England fan, when your talismanic player then suddenly is effectively out of the game, right? You know, I think
Yeah.
if it took the wind out then at that point, I think it probably looked like England probably would go on and lose it. And yeah, and then you got people like Stuart Pearce, Mr. Reliable from the penalty spot, and then
Oh,
not, and that's like it's
yeah.
heartbreaking and stuff. But it feels like you grow up with heartbreak as an England fan. I think that's just it. You
Oh,
get used to that. And it's always heartbreak. I mean, I'd almost at times wish we just got absolutely hammered in a game because it just feels like at least we know early, right,
yeah.
that's done. But we always leave it late. Every
And
final we're in, that kind of stuff. Feels like we just.
and talking about England now, like I know I sort of put the message into our chat, and I was sort of suggesting like with the Spain result yesterday, and I've become over the last few tournaments because I've actually been very expectant. I've actually been on the predictions where I think England it's a disaster if England do not get to the finals. I actually think over the last, if we go back from 2008, 2018 was a surprise, but nonetheless it happened. But if you go from 2021, you had 2021 got to Euros final. Then there was 2022 World Cup. So you had like a World Cup within a year of that. And then you've got another Euros 2024. And then you've got this now. And within all this sort of like quick sort of 5 years, there's been like 4 tournaments. And I think with the same group of players, great group of players. And in the last tournament, I was really annoyed in the Euros. I was actually not enjoying it. And watching the Spain game, I was thinking, if that was England, we'd be all texting a load of abuse to each other, getting annoyed, getting really angry. And this is my angle now. I'm just thinking, and obviously, if they win, brilliant. If they don't, they're out. But I think they've hired Tuchel for a reason to get the wins, and I'm just thinking it's win first, performance second, and that's how I'm watching it. If England win 1-0 for the next 6 or 7 games, I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to even get caught up on the performance. It's only if you play one of those games if you were lucky enough to get to the knockouts. And then it's just taking the game on and on and on to potentially penalties and stuff like that. That's my attitude. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think you've only got to look at Greece 2004 really for that. I mean, turgid, horrible football. Got to the final, beat a well-fancied Portuguese team. And to be fair, you ask any Greek fan now, they couldn't give couldn't care less. That was it. They won they've won the Euros. And that's it. They all look back, and I remember that final, and it's one of the worst finals I've seen in a major tournament ever. That 1-0 Greece game. But
horrible. I was thinking about that the other day, and this is where you need Back to the Future to sort you out in the time machine, mate, in the DeLorean, because it was in 2000 and what was it, 2004, wasn't it, when Greece won the Euros, wasn't it? And before that, in 1993, I'm pretty sure Greece was one of the first games Terry Venables was in charge of England at Wembley, and again in that 10, couldn't get my head around. I was thinking about that the other day. In that 10-year spell, Greece were European champions when England absolutely tonked them. I can't remember what the score is. It's a funny old game, isn't it? As this man once said. There you are. Segue. It's signed by the author, actually. Good old Norman. It's signed by Norman. I've got Greaves' signature, and I didn't know that. There you go. John, what about you? How are you thinking about England in this World Cup?
Like you say, who cares? But if we win 1-0 every game, no one, many teams, nations have won competitions by playing rubbish football. So I think, like you say, we can all get too hung up on it, how you play, this, that, and never. But ultimately, just the win is all you care about. Do I think we'll win it? Well, I don't know. I'm not on that sort of positive vibe yet. I need us to play and just get a feel tomorrow how it goes. I know it's only the first game, and I know we spoke about that before. The first game doesn't really amount to a lot of the end result in a lot of cases, but still, you just want to get a vibe to see what we've got in our locker. Attacking wise, what he's thinking, sort of formation, what sort of subs he's going to bring on. I don't know. I don't like to predict it anymore, to be honest with you.
We're still hopeful, Griff. That's it. We're still hopeful. And the way I look at it, if Arsenal can win a Premier League playing the football they played, England can win.
There you go. Yeah, like you say, we've got Tuchel. At the end of the day, he's got a very rigid way of playing. He's the squad he's picked is sort of safe, isn't it? In terms of, he's not gone for individuals who aren't necessarily going to play the way he wants them to play. He's gone for players that will listen. There's still a bit of flair in there. Don't get me wrong. I like the fact we've got Eze and the Arsenal lad, the winger, Saka. there's creativity there still, and obviously got Kane up top. Tony, he's going to be good for goal. He's going to be good for running the channels, chasing stuff down. So there's options as well. So I just think we've just got to go for it. The minute we start sitting back and playing that sort of, possession football and seeing the time out, that's more often than not when we get unstuck and we end up causing our own downfall. So just got to go for it.
Feels like for the first time we've got a team full of peak players going into a World Cup off the back of really good form.
Yeah, well, Harry Kane he's the
like,
number one marksman, isn't he?
I mean, Saka ended the season well. Rashford was strong for Barcelona at the end of the season. Everyone in midfield seems to have had a good game, even defensively. Everyone, had a solid end to the season. So I think like it's nice to have that form going into the World Cup. It always feels like we're talking about an injury before we go into it, and this is the first time we've not had to do that. So I think those types of things are all positives and not to be taken for granted, I think, at times. So yeah, I'm positive about it. They're not my favourites for the World Cup, but I definitely think we can win it.
I guess, like Simon just touched on a minute ago, how many tournaments we've had in the last 5 years. If you look at England and that core of that squad, they've all been a part of those squads. The likes of Harry Kane, Pickford, Henderson, that's the core of your squad there, who have all been there and done it or thereabouts. So that they're not, they can bring those young lads through as well and sort of show them a way a little bit, hopefully. And yeah, I don't know. I do feel positive, but I just don't want to put too much on it.
Time will tell, and I just think, just to finish off, and I think England can be a powerful team. I think they've got pace, they got power, and I think that hopefully there'll be a bit of efficiency there, and maybe that's what we've lacked, and maybe a bit of ruthlessness. Win a game, see a game out. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Croatia will be a tough game, but. Before we go into our predictions, and I mentioned about us thinking about our favourite England kits, and we're all wearing some random kits, aren't we? So I'll start on my favourite kit. This isn't actually it, but I do quite like this one. I like the long arms.
Long sleeve.
When I was little, I used to call them long arms, right? And I want the long arms. And I was like, I remember I wanted the Manchester United, like 1986 shirt. I want the long arms kit, and couldn't get it. And but my favourite kit, I've always liked red on England. I must admit, I've always liked the red. My favourite kit is what I was wearing the other night, believe it or not, my white Mexico 86 shirt. And something about that, it's my first World Cup that I got all excited. When I saw that was Debenhams did some resales through Umbro. That was the one I had. I had a few picks, got that one. Mexico 86, going in for number 10. But the red kit for that is beautiful, and I can't find it anywhere. So listen, if you've got any spares knocking around, pop me a DM and I'll have it. But that is a beautiful kit. So mine's the 86 version of the white one, but the red kit is beautiful. John, what's your favourite England kit? Come on.
Mine's a 2010 England kit, particularly Beckham in it, because he looked mustard. Like you say, he was in his prime. He had the hair. It was a just plain white top with just the crest hair. I don't even think the sponsorship was. I think the sponsorship was white as well, so it all went in sort of. I think it was just crisp, elegant. Had a nice cotton collar, button-up job, red number on the back. Yeah,
oh, beautiful. Oh.
Top stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting excited now. I'm gonna have to calm down.
I can tell. Just relax there. relax there, Sonny Jim. Go on, Dan. While Sean just calmed himself down.
Yeah, stop worrying about your morning glory, I suppose.
That's
it's not one thing, it's another.
Do you know what? I think we had a run of good kits in the 80s, 82, 86, both like classic hits, 1990 obviously. Do you know what? I'm going to go a bit off piece. My favourite England kit is their 96. I know it's not a World Cup kit, but my favourite England kit is their 96 kit. That just the kit when we demolished Holland in that kit. That is just
what a game!
Yeah, and we were so good, and the grey version of the kit, the white version.
I had the grey.
Brilliant kits, yeah. And for me, and they hold very strong childhood memories anyway. But they're just great kits.
That's a kit. I just don't get why England had a grey kit. Why were they not wearing red in that semi-final? I don't get it. I don't get
one, isn't it?
Yeah. Man U in the 1991 Cup Winners' Cup just wore some random white kit that they didn't even have with no sponsor on and stuff like that. I've got about 20 versions of that. It's really weird. Everyone just kept buying it for me for birthdays and things. Right? I've got all these kits, right? But what can England just think? We got Germany. It's at Wembley. It's 30 years ago. I know we got this grey kit, everyone's bought it, but no one's going to blame us if we just make it in red. I just don't get. I think they've made a right mistake in that one, but. Don't start talking about Euro 96. This is a World Cup one. Oh, Euro 96, that kills me. But let's just cheer ourselves up with some predictions, because obviously we're sort of like angling ourselves as some form of experts. But after our first round of predictions, I'm on 4 points with 2 correct outcomes, like 2 points an outcome. Sean's on 2. Well done, Sean. You're okay. And Daniel's just plucked out 2-all. Morocco v Brazil out of somewhere. Daniel, where did you pluck that from?
Well, obviously, it comes from my vast and impressive knowledge of football, I assume. But yeah, no, do you know what? I fancied there to be goals in it. Yeah, I don't know if I thought it was going to necessarily go there. You pluck them out, but I think off the back of that, it did just show just
out
little we all know about football, really. So
there you go. Well, here we go. So we'll do our predictions. So the 5-a-side challenge. This is what I'm going to do. Five games. We'll quickly see where we go with this. Sean, we will say Portugal v Congo. Have we got?
Cheers. Thanks for that. Yes. I'm going to go Portugal 3, Congo 0.
I'm going to go Portugal 3, Congo 1. I fancy them.
I'm going to go Portugal 4, Congo 0. There you go. Fancy some goals. Bruno Fernandes is going to do good, I hope. Daniel, Canada versus Qatar. There we go.
I think it's going to be a dull one, if I'm honest. I'm going to go 1-0 Canada. I fancy them to pick up their first ever win at a World Cup.
Nice. Sean?
I actually like Qatar, so I'm going to go 2-1 to Qatar.
Yeah, I like them. I thought they played really well. I'm going to go. Do you know what? Desmond 2-2. I'm doing 2-all. I'm taking Daniel's score.
And, I mean, it's home nation. You would have thought the crowd would get them going, wouldn't you? But I don't know. There's not a lot of quality there.
Not a lot of quality there. So we go 2-2-all. I think it would be interesting to see how we go. Sean, USA versus Australia. USA surprised all of us, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They had 4 goals in them, but they looked bright up top. So I'm going to go 2-1 to USA.
Oh, Daniel.
Do you know what? I was going to go 2-1 as well, USA. I was there with you, but I'll switch out to 3-1 just so I just change out a little bit. I just fancy US to win, but I thought Australia were good value against Turkey, which was a surprise. So.
Well, Turkey, that was a shock, because we built them up, didn't we? And look at that, they just put egg on our face. But there you go. Funny old game, Jimmy Greaves. I'm putting that one out there again. I'm going to say, I think USA are going to win this. I'm going to say 2-0. 2-0 USA. And Dan, Scotland, Morocco.
2-0 Morocco, I think, and I think they'll get away. If they get away with 2-0 as well, Scotland, I think they've got lucky. I think Morocco are significantly better.
Oh, nice. Sean?
3-0 Morocco.
3-0 Morocco.
Goals.
I'm going to go 1-all. I just got a feeling. I've got a feeling like I fancy Morocco, but I just got a funny feeling Scotland might be the game where they somehow come good. But who knows? Who knows? And to finish off with Sean, Mexico versus South Korea. Got some good ones here, haven't we?
These are tough ones. I think Mexico are going to win 2-1.
Oh, Daniel.
I've gone 1-all in this one. I fancy that. I think 2 well evened. Yeah, even sides. I think actually South Korea are better, but I think the altitude is a problem for anyone in Mexico at the minute.
I haven't got a clue. I'm going 3-all.
Nice.
I'm giving it 3-all. I'm going all the goals 3-all.
Well, it makes it a game to stay up for, then, doesn't it? That's what we're waiting for.
It does. Well, then, as I said, I've locked you 2 in on this, and that means you've got to come back again. But I think there's no doubt that you'll be back, because these chats have been really good. I'm going to be honest. Like it's good because usually in the week we'll get on with our own things, don't we? And it's just given us an excuse to catch up. It's been quite heartwarming, hasn't it, Dan? How have you felt doing this?
It's been lovely. I mean, usually I only get to see you both over the other side of the table at a pub, so it's quite nice to do that sober and to chat football without Jack badgering on in the corner.
True that, Sean. Have you enjoyed
Yeah,
some of
well,
these, Sean?
he's still a little torrent on the WhatsApp, isn't he? All about Spurs. Yeah, no,
About
it's been brilliant,
Spurs.
mate. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the chats, and yeah, like you said, it's a good opportunity to talk about football, just on a sort of on our level, not listening to all the pros just ramble on.
Yeah.
Well, it's no, I've loved it, and I think it's I'm really excited. I've got a few plans for future ones coming up, but a little shout out, Sean Dominy put a lovely little post saying, "Is Sean Griffiths the most beautiful man ever?" or something like that, and it was words along those lines. But there you go, Sean. It's nice that your
Nice to be
boyish good.
appreciated.
It's nice to be
Definitely,
appreciated.
it's definitely up there. I mean, we get to look at him, so we're lucky. We're lucky.
Someone
Thank
that watched this in my WhatsApp group named you the butcher. And he goes, I'll tell you what, that butcher, his first game, 1998, lucky so-and-so being that young and all that. And so there you go. But well,
Yeah.
gents, it's been absolutely a delightful chatting to you again, and we'll come back. We'll book another one in later on in the week, maybe at the weekend. See how our predictions goes. And listen, if you're wondering why I haven't picked England as a prediction, that's my fault. I'm superstitious. I don't make England predictions. I just like talking about them. Thanks for listening, and share the pod. If you like this, share it. Go share this episode to one person you think will appreciate it. Pass the parcel, or Chinese whispers, and you never know what you'll be explaining it to someone, and we'll be wearing we'll be wearing some form of Morocco, Scotland, Congo mashup kit. Who knows? But anyway, Daniel, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us again.
Sean, thank you.
Just on that, if you're talking about pass the parcel or pass the notes, there's a funny story from USA '94 where the Ireland squad and they passed the message down. Jason McAteer, look it up. It's a belter. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And up the Three Lions. Let's go.
Up the Three Lions. Come on,
let's be having you.
Let's be having you.
Has anyone ever said up the Three Lions before? I feel like I might be.
Well, I like to create new names and new phrases, as you know, and new countries.
I hope it catches on.
It's this like
up
now.
The Three Lions.
Up the Three. This is like. Oh no, you hang up. You hang up. No, yeah. You hang up. Take care. Thanks, boys. Thanks, listeners. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Lonely Goalpost. I really appreciate you spending your time with me as we share football memories and stories from the beautiful game. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and all major podcast platforms by searching The Lonely Goalpost. And if you'd like to explore more, head over to thelonelygoalpost.co.uk for articles, memories, and updates. Until next time, listener, keep the football memories alive, and I'll see you on the next episode.